Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Jonnychipz Weekly. My name is John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and it is Friday the 28th of October 2022. This is episode number 93. I'm hanging up the MVP. Let's get into it. So yes, hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Nice bit of sunlight through there onto the green screen in the background, so apologies for the little lovely pattern there on the screen, but hey ho, we'll get on with it. So yeah, welcome to this episode. It's Friday lunchtime here in the UK. Hope you've had a great week in work or whatever you've been up to. Looking forward to the weekend, whatever you're going to be doing this weekend. So bit of a different show for me this week. Got a bit of an announcement to make. And, the clue is in the title, essentially. I'm hanging up the MVP. I'm having to give back that most valuable professional award that I so dearly cherish and was given to me around 18 months ago by Microsoft. Let's get into why. Let's head on over. Okay, so we're going to kick off with what's going on the side in my life at the moment. Lots has been going on is the reality at the moment. So I just wanted to start this episode by really talking about what it is to be an MVP, what it's meant to me over the last 18 months or so of being, kind of given that accolade from Microsoft. And you can head on over to the mvp.microsoft.com website and you can kind of have a read through what it takes. There's an article there of what it takes to become an MVP, and there's some great hints and tips. And it's not purely just about being a technical expert. There are lots of nuances to becoming an MVP, and I think fundamentally it builds on community. It's community at the core. So it's around helping others, demonstrating, yes, absolutely technical ability if that's what you possess, but equally, it could be leadership values, it could be helping people in Q&A, it could be that whole community effort around kind of helping people learn and understand technologies in ways that maybe you can help them with. Fundamentally, there's no written rule of what it is that you need to do to become an MVP. It's very much, you get nominated, as you can see here on the webpage. As an MVP myself, I can nominate people, or, you can be nominated by either another MVP or a full-time Microsoft employee. And it really is about kind of demonstrating, some aspect of you giving back to the community in whatever kind of fashion that kind of is for yourself. And go through a bit of a selection criteria, selection panel where they'll look at metrics and measurements about what it is that you're actually doing and what impact you're having in and around your community. And a decision gets made, and you get onto the MVP award program, which effectively means that you've got great access to product group within Microsoft, and obviously that fellow community of MVPs that you can kind of lean into and work with and network with. And it's really a kind of a self-fulfilling place to be, because the more that you put in, absolutely the more that you get out of being in as part of this program. So first off, I just wanted to call that out and kind of show people that the MVP community is there and it exists, and it's a great thing to be part of. It's not that straightforward and easy to get into. You kind of have to demonstrate your value to the community. Now, again, I try and say that without kind of blowing my own trumpet. I mean, clearly, I managed to get onto the program because I was doing a number of things personally. I was, part of the Welsh Azure user group was the first kind of element that I got into from a community perspective. I started writing blog articles, did the 100 Days of Cloud Challenge, where I was learning something new about cloud technology for 100 days. I really started to give a little bit back in terms of blog writing and YouTube video production and kind of running events and quizzes. And like I say, the Welsh Azure user group has been running consecutively now for over 2 years every month. Which is, a great, a great achievement from on behalf of me and the rest of the team at the Welsh Shore User Group, and we're so proud that we've managed to keep that running for so long. And yeah, I mean, in amongst all of that, I've obviously met so many of my fellow community members, MVPs, who I must add, there've been so many, and they've been so awesome and so fantastic. They still are. You still are if you're watching this. We hook in with each other, we chat every now and again, and it's just such a great community to be part of. So I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to all those kind of community members. You know who you are. There's far too many people to name individually on a video like this, and I wouldn't do, because I'm bound to miss one name, and I wouldn't want to put anybody out in that way. Look, anybody that I've interacted with over the last 2.5 years or so, you know who you are. You've all had an impact on my life personally. I've been through the ringer over the last couple of years as well. I lost my mum a short while ago. The community were fantastic, and in the way that they supported me through that sad time. The amount of effort that's gone into some of the community content that I put in, the amount of opportunity that has been pushed my way in terms of other community members bringing me onto their community events, their shows, their podcasts. It's been an absolute brilliant ride. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you to every single one of you. So, okay, let's get to it then. So, why am I hanging up the MVP? So, if some of you haven't got it already, there is one unique position that leads you to have to kind of hang up your MVP, and it's when you become a Microsoft full-time employee. So without further ado, that's what I'm doing. I have accepted a role at Microsoft. So as of the 7th of November, I will officially be a Microsoft full-time employee, which I'm thoroughly excited by, kind of in a state of amazement to a certain extent that I've managed to go through the interview process and get into Microsoft. It's one of those companies that I've always said, that would be the only real company that I would entertain moving from my current position at BT. So, to talk about BT for a little while, I've been at BT now for nearly 10 years. The time has absolutely flown by, and I've met and I've worked with absolutely fantastic people at BT. My line management has been absolutely perfect. I've had an absolutely amazing time, and there were apprehensions, and there always will be apprehensions about moving roles, and for me it was no different. Clearly, being somewhere for nearly 10 years, you kind of become a little bit of part of the furniture, and the way things that work and things like that. So there was a level of apprehension, I must admit, but my line management being fantastic, my colleagues have been absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out to that team first and foremost that there's some great things to come at BT still. Obviously, I'm sad I won't be part of them when they materialise over the next months and years, but I will be there in spirit. It sounds a bit cliched, I know, but look, I've made a lot of good friends at BT over that time, and I am obviously sad to be leaving such a great team and such a great group of people, in the sense that I guess life moves on is what it boils down to. So yeah, on to the role at Microsoft. So yeah, from the 7th of November, there we go, cheesy picture of myself with the Microsoft sign. From the 7th of November, I'll be moving into the STU within Microsoft UK as an Azure specialist. So really looking forward to getting started in that role and kind of taking that forward and seeing how I progress. Such an exciting, from the outside looking in, it's such an exciting place to work. So I'm really looking forward to getting started. I really am hoping that I don't have to hang up the thing around community. As much as possible, I want to keep my foot in the door, so to speak, with community efforts, and I want to stay close with my MVP friends that I've met over the last few years. I'm not looking to go anywhere soon. Obviously, when you start any new job, there's going to be an element of learning the ropes, so to speak, understanding the role and the nuances of the role and the timings and the travel and all that good stuff. So I'm sure, I'll be a little bit quieter over the coming months to begin with. But like I say, I'm really hoping that I can bring what I learn and what, the opportunities that I get in Microsoft, to bring that back into the community as well. That hopefully will enhance the kind of talks I can do, what we can bring to the Welsh Azure user group. That's not looking at going anywhere. And yeah, be a really exciting time to enact maybe a little bit of change, maybe breathe a bit of fresh life into some of the community efforts that I've been involved with over the last couple of years. So super excited to be starting at Microsoft, like I say. Looking forward to getting stuck in. So that is why I'm having to hang up the MVP. It is not through choice. I absolutely love being part of the MVP program, and it will. I'm guessing the certificate and the award will forever live on my bookshelf, and it will be there. I've been honoured and privileged to be part of that community, and still will take it with me. And like I say, hopefully I will continue to be part of that community, even though I won't be an MVP. I'll be working at Microsoft. I will hopefully be able to kind of merge the two worlds together in the way that I see fit in that sense. So, yeah, anyhow, that's me. That's my good news. Thank you to everybody that's been part of this journey of mine for the last couple of years. I'm sure I'll probably write a blog article on it at some point. Like I say, I'll probably get my feet under the table, so to speak, start to learn where I am with Microsoft, and take it from there really. So for now, thank you to everybody at BT. It's been an absolute privilege. Absolutely love working with you all at BT for the last nearly 10 years, like I say. By the same token, I'm absolutely super excited to get started to work at Microsoft. So all those friends that I've met at Microsoft that already know, thank you for all your support, all your words of encouragement, all the people in the MVP community and the wider community. Thank you all for being a part of my journey. This is, if you like, this is a bus stop moment, I guess, is that I'm stopping the bus here. I've made a big shift in my life. Like I say, there are lots been going on for me personally over the last couple of years, more so with my son moving out to Canada, and things like that. There's been a lot of positive movements. There's just a lot going on. So, yeah, like I say, I'll take a breath for now. Thank you to everybody for kind of giving me that support over the last couple of years. And yeah, onwards and upwards, and let's see how this transpires. So for now, that has been Jonnychipz on the side for this week. There we go. Some great news. So yeah, like I say, thank you everybody for all your support on that. We'll jump into the program as usual now. We'll just do a little bit around Welsh Azure user group news and updates. So straight off the bat, we have our next Welsh Azure user group set up for the 16th of November, starting at 6:30 p.m. BST. We got Marcel Lupo coming back, joining us again, going to talk to us around GitHub Terraform, Dependabot, kind of giving us a real-world example of how those kind of utilities and features can be used. And then we've got Liji Thomas coming on to talk about using AI to build applications that our users can be understood with. So yeah, Azure AI from Liji and Marcel on to talk about GitHub Terraform and Dependabot. So 16th of November, follow at Welsh Azure, get yourselves RSVP'd if you can. And yeah, look forward to seeing you there. As usual, if you have missed any sessions, the playlist below, Welsh Azure User Group, has got all the sessions in, so you can go right the way back to when we started, which, looking at this, was when? That was September 2020. Can you believe it's been over 2 years now? It's phenomenal, really, isn't it? So there's our latest episode with Mark and Debasis. Do go and watch that. Let us know. Drop a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you can. That would be awesome. So that's the Welsh Azure user group for now. Thank you so much. Okie dokie, and we shall move on to just a few community callouts. Not got too many this week because I've not been keeping my eye on the Twitter spaces so much, but let's go and do some community callouts. First up, I just wanted to shout out the next episode of the When Ops Meets Dev is out next Friday. That's the 4th, episode 11, where I've got Robbie and Swami, and we're talking about Angular client integration. So there's some client-side application development here, and the integration with those microservices that we've been developing into Kubernetes. So the client side is starting to spin up. We're going to be talking all through that. If you want to join us, RSVP, there's a group on the meetup, or head on over. You'll see that you can put a notification on the YouTube below somewhere. There'll be that live stream waiting to happen on the 4th. So we're looking forward to that one. Next up, Heiko Bren. Heiko and his Ask Me Anything sessions. Great content, great people that he's getting joined. This time it's Thomas Maurer. So if you want to go and watch that, this is going to be running later today. So later today, Heiko has got Thomas Maurer on with an Ask Me Anything session. So really looking forward to that one. I'm going to try and join that if I can. And if you've got any questions in the meantime you want to submit, there's a form there that you can fill in. So, yeah, looking forward to that one, Heiko. Jack Tracy tweeted this out. It's not a great picture here, but there's an open source command.ms. Effectively, it's like a blade system that you can use your web browser to kind of show you all the admin blades. If I click on that, it's probably got a bit of a better story behind it. But there we go. All the different portals down the side here. You can see that you can kind of add all your portals in this way, so you can kind of get to them as and when you need to. So really good community project there. Thanks, Jack, for kind of retweeting that out. It's a browser extension, essentially, is how that works. Go and get that installed if you want. And there's our developer, Merrill Fernando. So, Merrill, thank you very much for that. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. I will be getting that installed on my browser fairly soon. Next up, Carol De Winter has retweeted this blog and video series from April Edwards and Nana. They're talking about DevOps for the IT Pro, which kind of speaks to the world that I've kind of come from over the last many years, I guess. It's a great little series. If you're interested and you are wondering what is DevOps for an IT Pro, what does that look like, head on over. Some great content in it. It starts with a blog article. There's a couple of videos in there as well from April, so go and give that a look-see. Hopefully get you on track for that. Thanks Pete and Keith here, just kind of retweeted, and I've got a bit of work to do, to be honest. I'm falling behind. I need to get onto this fairly soon, but 24th of November, a flight into IoT2, the long haul. I'm getting together with the awesome folks that are Pete Gallagher, Clifford Agius, Maria Anastasia Mustaka, Sander van der Velde, and myself. We're coming on to talk again about a similar project that we did last year, but we're kind of extending this to include digital twins, and Sander has done some great work so far. I've seen some fantastic pieces. I need to get in there and do my little bit for that session. So looking forward to that. If you want to get registered, it's happening, like I say, in a month's time on the 24th of November. Get yourselves signed up for it, and it'll be a great little session. So thanks for the reminder, Pete. Next up, Sam Kogan retweeted this out the other day. He's put together a great set of resources looking at Bicep, and he's called it Bicep for Real, website bicepforreal.com. He's basically pulled together a whole heap of video resources, learning about all different parts of Bicep essentially. So you can see we've got, getting started, we've got the episodes. If we go on to bicepforreal.com, we've got a whole series of videos talking, getting started, core resources, containers, databases, pipelines, API management, whole heap of bits and pieces in there. So bicepforreal.com. Thank you, Sam, for pulling that together. It's really appreciated. If you are looking to get to know Bicep a little bit deeper, go and check that out. And finally, just wanted to give a big thank you to Come Cloud with Us, Abdul and Chris. The sessions that they run invited me and a bunch of other awesome peeps across the community on to kind of have a bit of a wrap up of MS Ignite and what we took away from it and things like that. So just wanted to give that a shout out. I put it in my playlist below. It's in there under Cloud Family if you want to go and give that a watch, or head on over to the Come Cloud with Us YouTube channel and give it a watch. It was a great, fun event to be part of. So thank you for inviting me. Okay, so there we go. We are powering through. Let's get on to the last piece of this week's show, which is the Azure news and updates. So without further ado, let's get into it. Good afternoon. Okay, so we are going to get straight into the Azure news and updates. We've had a whole heap of Azure news and updates. It's been KubeCon this week, so there's been a lot of announcements around Kubernetes and AKS within Azure as well. So let's just get straight into it without further ado then. What we got first up, let's resize. First up is that we got to resize that screen so that we can get the news on properly. There we go. That's looking a bit better. Okay, first up, public preview, availability zone volume placement for Azure NetApp files has gone into public preview. We've got a GA announcement, custom IP prefixes that bring your own IP is now available in US government regions if you're interested. Generally available, AKS now supports Ubuntu 22.04. That's a great addition to the supported container service. So yeah, go and use that if that's what you need to. More generally available, Azure Storage attribute-based access controls for standard storage accounts. We've got public preview of vertical pod autoscaler, again, another one of the AKS Kubernetes enhancements there. So VPA, vertical pod autoscaler, is now supported in AKS, and it's a Kubernetes native tool designed to provide a vertical scaling mechanism for Kubernetes controllers by automatically adjusting resource allocation for their containers that make up pods based on historical and current resource utilization patterns. And we've got a GA announcement of premium SSD v2 disks available on Azure Disk CSI driver. More AKS, there's an image cleaner that's gone into public preview. So what they're saying here is that it's common to use pipelines to build and deploy images onto AKS clusters. The process often doesn't account for the stale images left behind and can lead to image bloat on cluster nodes. So these images can present security issues as they may contain vulnerabilities. So with Image Cleaner, you can detect and automatically remove all unused and vulnerable images that are cached on those AKS nodes. Great to see. IPVS load balancer support in AKS. Like I say, KubeCon this week, so lots of cool Kubernetes announcements undoubtedly timed to suit. More public preview. ASO ASO makes it easy to manage database and connection. So it's easy to create a database connection, for example, Cosmos DB, and manage identity that will use that. And you can use that managed identity for your service deployed in Kubernetes, all in a single YAML deployment. So it eliminates the needs for that manual configuration. So that's cool to see. Dapper extensions for AKS and Arc-enabled Kubernetes now support Dapper 1.9. There's CSI extensible API for AKS is now gone generally available. We've got public preview of V2 programming model for Azure Functions using Python. We've got new metrics capabilities in open telemetry-based application insights gone into public preview as well. And Azure load testing in West Europe has gone into public preview this week as well. TCP support, so that's an interesting addition there rather than, I'm assuming, where is this? Container apps can communicate. So public preview TCP support on container apps. So I'm guessing rather than just having web contact, they now can use a custom TCP port, which is called C. Public preview Kate's 1.25 support. So AKS now supports Kubernetes version 1.25 in public preview. It includes 40 enhancements with some major updates. We have got Azure load testing is now HITRUST certified. We've got Mariner container optimized OS. So Mariner container, the only place I've come across Mariner as an OS image is on the Azure Percept dev kit, actually. So interesting to see now that that's an optimized OS for AKS as well. Cool to see. We've got Azure Synapse Link for Cosmos DB and the Gremlin API in public preview. And we've got the Azure CNI powered by Cilium. So Azure CNI powered by Cilium provides native support for the next generation Cilium EBF BPF data plane in AKS clusters running Azure CNI. Okay, and yeah, this is another announcement from Ignite, actually. So I had a catch up with Gal Levy this week that'll be going out around this. So Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB data plane has got some RBAC. So now we can control the access to those containers in Cosmos DB via RBAC. So yeah, I've got a video coming out about that fairly soon as well, as it happens. So that's cool to see. We've got improvised passive geo-replication for Azure Cache for Redis is in public preview. And we got read replicas for Azure Database for PostgreSQL Flexible Server has gone into public preview as well, that read replica feature. There's been there's been two public preview updates for Azure SQL in October. Compute percentiles for a large dataset rather than using approximate percentile in Azure SQL Database and Azure SQL Managed Instance. And we've got enabled transact SQL execution to add table constraints as inline and resumable operations in Azure SQL Database and Azure Managed Instance. So some updates there for Azure SQL. We've got this public preview around Azure load testing. It supports authenticating with client certificates. That's in public preview if you need to use it. And there's a heap of general availability announcements for Azure SQL now. So we've got perform import and export using private endpoints, which is cool to see. We can use import-export operations on Azure SQL Database Hyperscale. And we can improve our Azure SQL Managed Instance performance with the new TempDB configurations. And finally, auto scale compute to higher limits with up to 80 vCores in selected regions using Azure SQL Database Serverless. Awesome stuff. More GA announcements around Azure Communication Services. There's short code functionality for SMS. Cool to see. Again, I keep saying every time Azure Communication Services is one of those areas that I want to have a little dig into myself. So good to see that. Azure Sphere OS 22.10 is GA. And finally, we've got a public preview of SAP for HANA events are now available on Azure Event Grid. Cool to see. So we can start to integrate some other cool workflow and business logic using Azure Event Grid and SAP for HANA database. So awesome stuff. There we go. Well, that's the end of the Azure news and updates this week. Let's head back on over. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. Quite a packed show this week, but we got a lot into it. A lot of good announcements. Like I say, huge thank you to everybody for supporting me the last couple of years now. Onwards and upwards. Super looking forward to getting started with my role at Microsoft. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be bringing some good content to your way fairly soon on that front. But until now, thank you everybody for watching. I've been John Lunn, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.